Hi besties, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to a new video and a very exciting video because today I'm going to give you guys some fall book recommendations. I have quite a few books here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 books that I'm going to recommend to you guys for the fall. If you guys want books for like the fall season, the cozy vibes, the spooky vibes, like I think I have quite a few good recommendations. Make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos. And let's get started. Okay, I have two books here that were on my last fall book haul. So the first one that I have here is The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson. This is like a short, quick read. This is basically an irresistible coming-of-age story about a group of misfit kids who spend an unforgettable summer investigating local ghost stories and urban legends. So it is basically that. This one did kind of have like a little bit of a slow start in my opinion, and it wasn't like my favorite book ever. I think I rated it like 3.5, but still like it's a quick read for the vibes if you know what I mean. It did give me the creeps, like it did spook me out. Like I wouldn't be able to read this at night. The ghost stories and like the ghost experiences that they go through are real. Like that's the part that I really liked about this book, but then like the storyline kind of faded and I didn't quite like it that much, but still I'm gonna recommend it because if I didn't like it doesn't mean that you won't like it. So if you want that kind of vibe, definitely go for this. A moving, delightful, thrillingly unexpected coming-of-age story about the irresistible collision of childhood's dark wonders and adulthood's haunting mysteries. That is a review, and I agree because the members of the Ghost Club are two like grown-ass men and then two kids, like two little kids, and all of them go through different things. So definitely it's a quick read, but I enjoyed it. So let me know if you guys enjoyed this. But yeah, that was the first one. Then we're gonna switch gears because you guys know this book. Like you guys know the movie, the book, everything. This is very much fall vibes in my opinion, but dramatic and sad fall vibes. This is The Perks of Being a Wallflower. This book is absolutely just adorable and beautiful. It does have quite a few trigger warnings, so make sure to look that up. I had never read the book. I watched the movie and I loved it, and I watched the movie like years ago. Like I should rewatch it, but I had never actually read the book, and I'm so glad I did. First of all, like the way the book is written, it's like in a letter form. Like the main character Charlie just writes letters, and that's how he tells the story of his life and what he's going through. And personally, I absolutely love that writing style. It's very easy to read. The story is so good, and obviously there is quite a plot twist at the end, which is very much sad, but I feel like the overall message at the end is just, it makes it all worth it, and that's why I absolutely love this book. Definitely if you want those kind of vibes, then go for this one. It's just a beautiful book. I wouldn't say this book is a romance. It's more of like a paranormal story, but not creepy at all. It's just very sweet. It's The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. But this one I totally enjoyed. Like I thought this was gonna be a full-ass romance. It wasn't, but I was pleasantly surprised. Basically, this book is about Florence, a ghostwriter for like a very famous author. Florence has kind of like a gift that was passed on by her father. She can literally see and talk to ghosts, but she's been trying not to pay attention to ghosts when she sees one ever since she was little. So she doesn't really pay much attention to them. When her new editor, a too handsome mountain of a man, won't give her an extension on her book deadline, Florence prepares to kiss her career goodbye. But then she gets a phone call she never wanted to receive, and she must return home for the first time in a decade to help her family bury her beloved father. For 10 years, she's run from the town that never understood her, and even though she misses the sound of a warm southern night and her eccentric, loving family in their funeral parlor, she can't bring herself to stay. Her father is gone, yet everything else feels the same. Until she finds a ghost standing at the funeral parlor's front door, just as broad and infuriatingly handsome as ever, and he's just as confused about why he's there as she is. So the entire book is kind of like Florence trying to prepare for her father's funeral, but she has a companion, which is basically a ghost. He died. I'm not gonna say which guy it is. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't want to spoil it. And she basically tries not to fall in love with this ghost because she hangs out so much with him and they spend so much time together in that time that it's just really hard not to fall in love with the guy. And then the funeral happens and then other things. But I enjoyed this book so much. So definitely if you want something like that, ghost kind of related but very toned down, nothing creepy, nothing scary, with a touch of romance, you can definitely read this one. Okay, the next one that I'm going to be recommending to you guys is The Echo of Old Books by Barbara Davis. I actually haven't finished this book. I started this book and I was really enjoying this book, but I have to pick it up again. This is most definitely fall vibes, and imagine like a bookstore in the fall and just the cozy vibes, but just magical things happening. A pair of mysterious books, a doomed romance, the echoes of a love that never died. Rare book dealer Ashlyn Greer's affinity for books extends beyond the intoxicating scent of old paper, ink, and leather. She can feel the echoes of the book's previous owners, an emotional fingerprint only she can read. So basically, every time she opens a book that was previously owned by another person, she can feel the emotions that that person felt while having or reading the book. And like, think about it, that is a lot to handle, because what if I pick up like someone else's 1,000 Boy Kisses and I can feel the emotions that they felt while reading the book? Like, I would be destroyed. You know what I mean? So when Ashlyn discovers a pair of beautifully bound volumes that appear to have never been published, her gift quickly became an obsession. Not only is each inscribed with a startling incrimination, but the authors, Hemi and Bell, tell conflicting sides of a tragic romance. With no trace of how these mysterious books came into the world, Ashlyn is caught up in a decades-old literary mystery beckoned by two hearts in ruins, whoever they were, wherever they are. Determined to learn the truth behind the doomed lover's tale, she reads on, following a trail of broken promises and seemingly unforgivable betrayals. The more Ashlyn learns about Hemi and Belle, the nearer she comes to bringing closure to their love story and to the unfinished chapters of her own life. But definitely for all of us readers and who love the fall, who love to read, who love bookstores, just love books, physical books, this is gonna be perfect. Okay, next one is a romance. This is Indigo Ridge by Daphne Perry. You guys probably already know about this book. So the book is about a Winslow, and she's the Montana's new chief of police, and she earned the position because her grandfather is the mayor. I'm reading the back of the book because I read this a while ago, so I don't really remember everything. Okay, so one of the like most known families in town are the Edens family, and that is where the main male character comes to play. And the same day she arrived to town, she basically had a one-night stand, but she didn't realize that that one-night stand was part of the most known family in town. So it's basically strangers to friends with benefits and then to lovers. And it's also a murder mystery, so if you want like a murder mystery with a lot of romance, this is gonna be perfect. Okay, next book is full-on fantasy. This is Legendborn by Tracy Dion. I read this book this year, not so long ago actually. So how do I explain this book? Okay, so this book is about, forgot her name, Bree. This book is about Bree. Basically Bree loses her mother to an accident, and she starts college right after that. And when she starts college, she like arrives to, I think it's UNC Chapel Hill, and the first night that she gets there, they go out to like do something crazy, and they go to the woods to a party in the woods, and she sees so many strange things, and something bad happens that night, and people like have to run for their lives, but she stays behind in the woods, and she sees something that she shouldn't have. A secret society called Legendborn. So after that, she does everything in her power to become part of the secret society because she thinks that they had something to do with her mother's death. So basically that's the whole plot. I did enjoy this book. I felt it was a bit too long, a little bit too dragged out, and at parts, I remember at parts I was kind of confused what was happening. But overall I did like it. I think I gave it 4 stars, if I remember correctly. But it's definitely a good, like, fall-ish, slash fantasy book if you want a fantasy book. Okay, next one is kind of obvious, but like literally the most famous book right now is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This one is also a fantasy book. It's a chunky one, but this one, how do I explain this? Picture fall slash winter, like cold vibes. A school for dragon riders in which you live or you die. Like you become a dragon rider or you die, technically. So this is the story of Violet. Violet was supposed to enter a different quadrant, the scribe quadrant, because she has always loved to read, to learn, she knows all the history, she knows everything, but she's not the most strongest person physically. Like, her body is kind of weak, and her mother is kind of like the head of the dragon riders quadrant, and she obligates Violet to enter the dragon rider quadrant competition, whatever it was. So the entire book is Violet trying to survive to become a dragon rider. And there are so many characters that I loved, so many characters that I hated, which is when you know an author is a good writer, when he hates some characters that you're supposed to hate. But definitely this is a perfect fantasy if you like dragons, mythical creatures, a lot of adventure, action, like a lot of things happening. This is gonna be it. Okay, next book, which I also haven't finished. Like, I'm on page 114, but this is a chunky book. Continuing the fantasy genre, but this is more like fantasy slash sci-fi, I would say. This is Starbringer by Tracy Wolff and Nina Croft. Okay, imagine Star Wars kind of thing. Imagine a Star Wars. This gives off the same vibes as Star Wars. I have been really liking this book. This book has 3 different POVs, to keep that in mind. I thought it was 2 at first, and then it was 3. So there are 3 main characters, and you have 3 different POVs. The sun is dying, and it's happening way too damn fast. With the clock ticking, the 9 planets' only hope of survival rests on a fancy space station and the alien artifact it's carrying, which is why it really sucks when some jackass doesn't want the universe saved and blows that station up while you're still on it. So if your only choices are flaming death or stealing a flying hunk of space junk, you pick that busted ass spaceship. Even if it leaves 7 strangers with deadly secrets strapped together: a princess, a prisoner, a con artist, a warrior, a priestess, a mercenary, and the asshole in charge of us all. So yeah, imagine these 7 people in a very old, burned down spaceship trying to navigate through the universe. I'm sure that when I finish this book, I'm gonna want to read the second one. I'm knowing Tracy Wolff, there are gonna be many books in this series. So okay, next book, also a book that you probably know of, but this is more of like an academic, with a little bit of fantasy, magical kind of thing going on. This is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I don't know, some people say Babel, some people say Babel. I don't know what to call it, to be honest. So this is the book. This is my copy from Book of the Month. I think you can pick this one up as an add-on if you wanted for Book of the Month. This book I also haven't finished. I haven't finished it. I started it last year, and I feel like I started it this year. The only reason why I stopped reading it is because I knew it was going to take me so long because of the writing style. I think it took me several hours to read 100 pages. Several hours. And it's because it has, I don't know, for me it wasn't the easiest thing to read. Like the actual words that they use are not so easy to like read and think about and understand. So that is the only reason why I stopped reading this book, but I know this book is probably a masterpiece of a book. Robin Swift, orphaned by cholera in Canton, is brought to London by the mysterious Professor Lovell. There, Robin trains for years in Latin, ancient Greek, and Chinese, all in preparation for the day he'll enroll in Oxford University's prestigious Royal Institute of Translation, also known as Babel. The tower and its students are the world's center for translation and, more importantly, magic. Silver working, the art of manifesting the meaning lost in translation using enchanted silver bars, has made the British unparalleled in power as the arcane craft serves the Empire's quest for colonization. For Robin, Oxford is a utopia dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge, but knowledge obeys power, and as a Chinese boy raised in Britain, he realizes serving Babel means betraying his motherland. As his studies progress, Robin finds himself caught between Babel and the shadowy Hermes Society, an organization dedicated to stopping imperial expansion. When Britain pursues an unjust war with China over silver and opium, can powerful institutions be changed from within, or does revolution always require violence? I just know this book is kind of like a masterpiece of a book, like just reading that. The only thing is that it does have quite a few details. Like it's a very, very detailed book, so it has a slow start. Like the main character's life and what he goes through to get to Oxford University is a hefty thing. Like it's quite a few pages, so be aware of that, be ready for that. Okay, the last two are books that I literally read this week, and I just had to put them in today's video. Okay, the first one is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This one right here, I know this one is very popular, but I hadn't read it, and I did, and I loved it. It is an amazing book. Do you guys know the song, As the World Caves In? And obviously the song is not the same as the book, but it gives me those vibes as to like these two people who are madly in love are trying to survive the end of the world. This isn't the end of the world, but it's that feeling because this book is set in a war. This book is set in a war of gods where human people have to go to war and just fight for humanity because of these gods that are fighting each other. Like, humans don't even have anything to do with them. And just imagine the main two characters, enemies to lovers, hating each other at first and falling in love, but literally they have to fight for their life, and just that love as to we are gonna live or die, so we're gonna love each other. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again, but 18-year-old Iris Winnow just wants to hold her family together. Her mother is suffering from addiction and her brother is missing from the front lines. Her best bet is to win the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. To combat her worries, Iris writes letters to her brother and slips them beneath her wardrobe door, where they vanish into the hands of Roman Kit, her cold and handsome rival at the paper. When he anonymously writes Iris back, the two of them forge a connection that will follow Iris all the way to the front lines of battle for her brother, the fate of mankind, and love. Divine Rivals is an epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. Please go read the book. It's just amazing. Okay, guys, and I left the most, I don't know, creepy paranormal book for last to read this Halloween. Okay, this book is The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I read this book yesterday. I read this book in a day, and it was amazing. This book had me glued to the pages. Like, I needed to know what was happening, what was gonna happen, and just trying to guess everything. So this is a paranormal murder mystery. In 1977, Clear Lake, Oregon was shaken by the Lady Killer murders. Two men, seemingly randomly, were murdered with the same gun, with strange notes left behind. Beth Greer was the perfect suspect, a rich, eccentric 23-year-old woman seen fleeing one of the crime scenes, but she was acquitted. But she retreated to the isolation of her mansion. Now, Oregon, 2017. Shay Collins is a receptionist, but by night she runs a true crime website, The Book of Cold Cases, a passion fueled by the attempted abduction she escaped as a child. When she meets Beth by chance, she asks her for an interview. To Shay's surprise, Beth says yes. They meet regularly at Beth's mansion, though Shay is never comfortable there. Items move when she's not looking, and she could swear she's seen a girl outside the window. The allure of learning the truth about the case from the smart, charming Beth is too much to resist. Is she making friends with a murderer, or are there other dangers lurking in the darkness of the Greer house? I'm just gonna tell you guys this. If you want a creepy-ass book that gives you the chills, it gives you the creeps, and you're like creeped out. You're like kind of a little bit scared. This is gonna be the book. Like, I could not read this book at night. Like, some parts are just I don't know if it's because I literally read this yesterday that I'm still like imagining it, but when I finished the book, I like went to take a shower, and I just could not stop thinking about everything, and I looked everywhere. It was an amazing book. That is when you know this book is good. It's a good mystery, it's a good thriller, it's a good paranormal murder mystery. So besties, those are all the books that I'm going to recommend to you guys today. These are some fall book recommendations for the fall spooky, creepy vibes, or cozy vibes if you want. I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys have some new recommendations. Let me know if you guys read any of these. Stay tuned for the upcoming weeks because I have quite a few exciting videos planned. I am going on a trip, and you know what that means. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell so you get notified when I upload more videos. And I will see you in my next one. Bye!